Hello and welcome to the Every Other Saturday podcast for a brand new episode this week where it's the start basically of the 25-26 season. Russell Martin's been appointed the new Rangers manager or head coach, shall we say. There's new owners in, there's a new fresh feel about the club, and I think there's a newfound belief for the Rangers fans that we can hopefully get it right this time. There's been a lot of change over the past couple of years with the manager, with the coaching team, with the team that are actually playing on the pitch. We've not been able to get it right to get the success that we need. So hopefully this is the start of what we hope is going to be a successful era for the club and one that the fans can actually enjoy for once. Because if we kind of just briefly reflect on last season, we've not done an episode, I don't think, since the keep or sell list where that was like that.
Aye.
Season's done. Who do we want to keep and sell? It was just a disappointing season all over. I mean, starting off at Hampden, getting put out early doors in the Champions League qualifiers, the amount of games and points that we lost in the league very early on, to then, by February, being managerless again, out the Scottish Cup with Queen's Park, 13 points behind Celtic, and Barry Ferguson obviously coming in and trying to do his best, but I think we lost more league games even with him there. So it was a terrible season, one to just put to the side and never think about again. But it is definitely a new era at Ibrox, as you can see with us here, 49ers, Enterprises, and Andrew Kavanagh buying into Rangers, obviously investing, becoming the majority shareholders of the club. Something that's been in talks for since the start of the year, and I think probably the thing that gave us and a lot of Rangers fans around the globe a little bit of kind of hope and belief that we might be going in the right direction. Because I couldn't imagine if we were sitting here right now
Oh,
and it was still the same owners and the same thoughts above. So it's a big thing for everybody. You obviously as a Leeds fan will know Parag Marathi is
mm,
as good as anybody. So it looks like they're going to run the club really well. The first steps have obviously been took to employ Kevin Thelwell, Dan Purdy, and obviously Russell Martin as a head coach. So no, it's exciting to see what the new owners want to do to Rangers. They've kind of put in their statement already that they want instant success. They want to be the premier club in Scotland. So let's see if they can do it.
well, let's hope. As you say, because that was a disastrous season last season. This is us now going into the new age here, the new hope for all the Star Wars fans out there. This is it here for us. Aye, I'm just obviously we were buzzing when this got announced and what have you. And then we wanted to hear for obviously the new owners or sorry, new owners and that. But then obviously we've heard for Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thingy. So, but I mean, they could have done one more and they could have get rid of Patrick Stewart for me. That'd have been lovely. Get rid of him. Strange fellow.
He's not
I'm
really
just
got
saying
over
that.
with the support yet, has he? Just due to all the stuff with the Union Bears and that as well.
Aye, yeah, he's not rubbed himself anywhere really well at all. But I know absolutely buzzing with the takeover, and we were all hoping for an exciting appointment. And we get Russell Martin, which is obviously everyone was feels like everybody was against it, but it's one that we're just going to have to accept now and back him fully. That's what we do now. We back the manager fully. And I have no doubt these guys will financially support him because I couldn't imagine if we were still in the trenches, what it would be like right now. And then I couldn't see us doing it in this season as well, if I was
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, that's the thing. The 49ers have obviously bought the club and invested in the club because they want to get a return on their investment as well. At the end of the day, it's still a money business. They see potential in Rangers, and I think there is huge potential in Rangers to be that team that everybody wants us to be again. And I think it's going to come
First,
with a large support team and investment, as they say.
absolutely, first thing I think they have to do massively is upgrade the stadium. Massively, the stadium needs to be modernised, needs to be vamped
Hmm.
up. Obviously, leave the main stand and what have you. But you think about how many people are on the season ticket like waiting list and all that kind of stuff. The money they generate there, do you know what I mean? Could be big for also transfers and whatever else. But definitely, club is in safe hands.
And it's nice
It's
to
a good.
actually say that and think that for once that you don't
Aye.
feel any angst towards against the people running your club. They're just going to hopefully quietly go away. They'll speak to
Mm.
you when they need to speak to you, and we'll
That's the
we'll
way
kind of
it's.
wait and see what happens. Really.
That's the way it's been at Leeds. Obviously, with Prague and whatever. Prague will do sort of kind of video at the start of the season to let the fans know what's going on and everything like that, and then you just really don't ever hear from them throughout the rest of the season.
No, I think a lot of the incentives, sorry, will be put on Russell Martin, obviously as the head coach, to get us playing. Kevin Thelwell and Dan Purdy seem to be working together. Of course, he's taking over for Niels Coppin in that role in terms of recruitment, in terms of all the strategies and stuff that they're going to implement in the club to make us better. I think a lot of the work will be down to him, and of course Patrick Stewart will be basically the guy that will be the go to for any day to day developments and stuff like that. So it seems like they've got a structure in place that should hopefully work for us. Going by all accounts, the two boys that came in for Everton as well look to have a good pedigree and a good standing behind them. So aye, it's good to see hopefully good people in place at the club that are there to do the role to their maximum ability, because it's going to be a huge task for this summer to get everybody on board with what's happening. I don't think many people are not on board with the 49ers, but there was the appointment of Russell Martin that has maybe cooled down a wee bit now that he's been in the
Aye.
job, and you've seen the behind the scenes footage, you've seen his interviews, you've seen his story from where he's came from, and not only football but just in his general life growing up as well. And it's an inspiring story to where he's got to at this point. It looks like he was always kind of set out for management as well. Done his coaching badges at 18, I believe. So it looks like this has been his idea all along. He's obviously had a good few opportunities to be a manager already at MK Dons, Southampton, Swansea, and I think a lot of people will maybe look to the Southampton tenure and think, right, well, the Premier
Well,
League
it's,
didn't go so well, but looking at the Championship season when they had to be the team that was winning, they done it effortlessly.
I mean, that's the thing as well. We've got to say, a young manager still learning. You know what I mean? Getting things into the Premier League where it's kill or be killed in it really with that league now. So I obviously he's going to learn for that experience and hopefully change his system and stuff like that when he maybe has to. But I doubt it. Feels like we're just going to go gun ho here and play one way and one way only. Main thing for me that I liked obviously when obviously talking with him about the fact that he mentioned being aggressive without the ball, something these Rangers players have not been, just happy to just let somebody else have the ball and really sit back. I want to see my players run. I mean, is it second for sprints in the Premier League?
Aye. Hmm.
So I mean that's massive, and I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of my team being hard working and hard to beat. And I'm, as I say, obviously when it got announced and that you weren't really convinced. The guy seems like a decent guy regardless. You know what I mean? Seems like a really good guy. Speaks really well. I like that he's honest. He seems honest in his pressers. And I'm backing him. As I say, the amount of times people have on, they've went about, you know what I mean? Oh, get Gio and get Bale. They didn't work out. So, you know what I mean? Let's hope the board have fully ignored us and they've went for the smarter decision in their opinion. Um, just sad to know that Ancelotti was, you know what I mean? He was holding out for us. But we've got Martin here and we've got to back him and we've got to get fully behind him and see where it takes us.
Well, that's it. And what you mentioned there with the board, obviously sticking to their guns, wanting to appoint the guy that they wanted, and that was a standout candidate they'd spoken to. It's a bit of a difference, obviously in the past where they would maybe leak some stuff out to the media, gauge the fans' opinion on it, then maybe move on into a different direction. So, aye, we've clamoured for Michael Beale and we clamoured for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and Philippe Coman, of course, but. Aye, they went in their own way. They didn't bow into the fan peer pressure. They would come with this appointment, and I think I'm not going to sit here and say I wasn't too impressed with it at the time. I think once it kind of Fabrizio Romano was posting it, I was thinking the worst. But once you start to look into Russell Martin, once you start to look into, as I was saying, the footage of his team playing. And I just the interviews at the club done as well. I'm definitely more on board with it than I was, and the fact is he's the Rangers coach now, so you've got to buy into what he's trying to do, and you really hope now the recruitment plans are in place. Of course, Niels Coppin would have been doing a lot of that until he's then away for the club. New guys are coming in, so you hope that there's a drive there to get players in. I think it's this Friday transfer window opens, so or this Thursday, sorry. Anyway,
They're
this
back.
week at some
Well,
point we need to see more movement. I think.
I mean, they're back in the 23rd. I mean, it's a blink of an eye away.
Hmm.
Obviously, the first thing that really comes to my mind when I look at Martin right now is obviously nice hair, mate. I know I'm on to
Aye,
talk
I
about
know.
him,
For once, we've got a Rangers manager when I say it.
but
Aye.
he's got a lovely set of, set of hair there. No, listen, the business has to be done, obviously, pre-season at home, which I'm a fan of, personally, because at times we go away and everything, and then
Hmm.
Aye. So I'm a fan of having that just to get used to where we're going as well. What's it, using England's facilities as well, if
I'm not sure.
I think so. I might be wrong with that. But obviously Middlesbrough and Club Brugge so far for the friendlies, I'd expect the Rangers and Leeds to be playing each other.
At
I
some
would
point,
do
I you would you
at
would
some
imagine
point.
so.
You would imagine so. Um, and but as I say, you just need to back it. You just need to see where it takes us. We've tried all these other idiots where, you know what I mean, as you say, previous the board would probably listen to more to the fans and what they're feeling. I like that the board have went, nah, this is a guy we want, this is a guy we're backing, this is where we feel. Because I agree with them when they were talking, obviously, in the press, and they were saying that we need to dominate areas we can't just have areas of the game where we need to dominate, full stop. There's no hang me. Obviously, mentioned set pieces as well. That's massive. We need to start seeing more goals
Hmm.
and what have you for there. And I'm just happy to know that my team are actually going to be asked to play football. That's a nice thing because the amount of times you watch half of these players last season and they look like they'd rather be anywhere else than at Ibrox.
Well, that's it. Once the wheels get in motion and Russell Martin kind of assesses the squad, sees who he fancies, sees who maybe no up for it, because he
The
said
the one
himself that players will surprise him, maybe that he didn't have his eye on.
the one thing I have to ask you, Russell Martin, though, is just get rid of Bajrami, please. Don't even give him a look in. Just get rid of him. Just
Well,
honestly,
if you're looking for effort and all that, I just can't see him being that guy.
I,
So
just get rid of him straight away. Don't even give him a chance. Just get him out the door straight away, please, because
yeah.
he is an absolute waste of a jersey. But even though, as I say, like he's kind of guys, he said there he's going to give people a chance. So I look forward to watching Ben Davies start for Rangers in the Champions League. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
you never.
definitely the way he wants to play. Ben Davies, I unfortunately suits it, but I think Ben Davies, Dowell, and Matondo and guys like that are coming back off their loan deals. I don't think he'll be thought about longer than maybe the first couple of weeks in pre-season until we get a decent, suitable offer for them, and they're out the door because the club need to
Yeah.
think about the finances at the same time. Matondo's on about 30 grand a week. We cannot keep him
No.
at the club, so.
Obviously,
Um,
one of the better bits of news and all. Try to get rid of McCausland as well, which
Nah,
thank.
there's players that are going to be non-negotiables for everybody. McCausland isn't good enough. He has to leave. Robin Proper as well, that's been touted going back to FC20. Again, it's a non-negotiable. He's not good enough. Just get rid of him. So, aye, hopefully there's a good deal of players moving in and out over the next couple of weeks. I would like to think so because July hits and then you've got the Champions League qualifiers coming in. So it's going to all start pretty rapidly, and
Sorry,
we
jump
need to
in
be
there,
ready
mate,
for
but
it this time.
it seems like obviously when Patrick and that were doing their presser and they were asked about Champions League football, what have you, it seems like there's no real pressure on Russell Martin to get Champions League football. I think they understand how difficult it is to get in the competition in the first place, but it feels like they're quite happy just to be in the Europa League. For me, I'm not happy with just being in the Europa League personally. I want that Champions League because of the financial aspect for us. It's going to be massive for us.
It's the exposure you get for that as well. It's mental that that's the competition that you want to be in, and of course it is difficult. We need to go through 3 rounds before basically barely even playing a competitive game this season with a new manager, a new idea, a new kind of look squad. You would hope as well, and it's going to be playing into probably the Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then playing in the Saturday when the league action kicks off as well. So it's going to be a lot, but for me, I get what you were saying there totally. I think they maybe aren't thinking about that as too heavily as Rangers fans are, but I think it's just massive incentive straight away. If Russell Martin gets through these qualifiers and gets us into the Champions League, it's huge. It is like it's really difficult. It is basically like playing a mini Champions League before the season's even started.
Mm.
The teams that we can draw in it are really tough. Um, but I feel like that has to be the goal at the moment. We need to be looking at that date and getting everyone in place for that first qualifier. There has been some rumours, of course, that we'll get on to, but there's definite players that Russell Martin will like. I think like Diomande for one. I think he'll really like. I think he'll like Yefte as well because of some of the ways he played with his Southampton team in the Championship. His fullbacks were wingers at one point, and they had to get so many players up the pitch. And when you think about last season, maybe even the season before that, how many games did we really dominate where we put the team under so much pressure that they had no other option but to just gee up basically. If we just keep absolutely dominating the ball and creating chances and getting players in good areas, we'll win games of football. It's there's not been an incentive on us for so long to play well play nice football, for it to actually be an enjoyable game to watch and a good team to watch. The incentive for the last two managers, and I'll include Barry Ferguson in that, has just been, oh, well, we need to get 3 points. Don't care how we do it. Well, I do, and I'm happy that Russell Martin does as well, because I want to see Rangers actually play some exciting, attractive football for once.
No, you do. You want to watch attractive football, as I say, and obviously it's a results-based business as well. You can't take away for that. You know what I mean? And what have you? But you do it, as I say, for us for so long. We've watched just what I couldn't tell you the last couple of Rangers managers what their style was, what the identity was. You know what I mean? How we played. I couldn't honestly. I couldn't. And majority it was a slug to watch at half the time. And so it's nice to know we're going to get a bit of attractive football. As I say, the big thing for me is I want to see these players without the ball actually work their arse off, because there's too many times you're watching a game you can just tell half of them just don't give, they really
Hmm.
don't care. They'd rather be anywhere else. Um, that for me is massive. As I say, you have to work just as hard off the ball. You know what I mean, with the ball. Main thing is though, you got to get two solid centre halves in there. As I said, defensively, you think obviously being an ex centre half himself, he'd like to have two proper strong boys in there. Just as I say, you get a solid back line, you're going to win. You know what I mean? You're more chance of winning
Yeah,
it. So I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes and what have you. I've just my only concerns I've said to you before, also coming on here and stuff like that, is feels like we're going in more a direction of signing like home based British players, or players just for the championship and stuff, that kind of stuff, which concerns me a wee bit. I mean, I'd rather be going out and say, look at where we get Diomande Faye and all that kind of stuff. That just looking at other leagues instead of looking. Obviously, we're all scarred for getting English players in and on a free and all that kind of stuff. We're all pretty mentally scarred for that. So I'd stay away for that
yeah.
as
I
far as
think
I
when there was
can.
a drive away for that over the past year there under Niels Coppin, there was a lot more to me exciting links and players that we brought in. Of course, Hamza Gaman probably wouldn't have even came up in the argument for the current recruitment team maybe. So I think Niels Coppin, to kind of just briefly touch on him as well, I think he does get a bit of flack for the players that he signed. See, because he signed a couple of players that maybe didn't work out so far, like Oscar Cortez, it's going to be a big season for him to kind of get his Rangers career up and running. Of course, we're paying that money for him. It maybe is a bit of a step too far that we've committed to that deal. But I think when you look at the players that Niels Coppin brought in, like Diomande, Yefte, Igaman, Cherny, obviously on his loan deal. There's been a few duds in there like Bayrami and Proper. But
But
I don't think half of it is
so
as bad as people make out.
that's the as I say, that's not. He's identified them as a potential good investment and stuff like that. So on that player at the end of the day, to go out and perform.
Because I
And
think when you look on paper, the idea of signing Bayrami was a good one at the time.
uh,
The idea of signing Robin Proper, who was FC20's captain and played so many games in the Eredivisie, to come and replace Connor Goldson wasn't really a bad idea. When you come to this club, you need to have the right mentality and you need to have the right set of balls really to actually play for Rangers,
that you
and they're
just
two players that don't.
you need to have something about you. That's it. You have to. I mean, even Cortez. You know what I mean, that's as you look at that, you think, right, potentially, if he does really well up here, you think about the fee you could get. Nah, as I say, it's just one of them where I feel that we have to be patient now. This is my thing here as well. I know I think we say that off the bat, we want success, obviously, but just feels like there has to be a wee bit of patience there. Do you know what I mean? There was patience, obviously, when Gerard came in. I think about that time period. Gerard was given a hell of a lot of patience, do you know what I mean? And we got the rewards at the end of it. So I'm just hoping we can all just be level headed here. Do you know what I mean? I say
Mm.
that I think we for Rangers fans to be that, but let's just all be patient and just back a guy, give him the time, and who knows where he'll take us.
And I think, as you briefly touched on with the recruitment and stuff, bringing in two solid centre halves and just the spine of your team that you want to have. And by all accounts, Russell Martin doesn't really like changing his team all that much, which again is an interesting sign for me because how many times was the team just shuffled about for no reason, like just die, not even by injury, just because. And I think obviously you need to satisfy everybody in the squad and give people game time, of course, but if you've got a team that's winning, you don't change it, and I think that's maybe Russell Martin's mindset as well. And you look at Gerrard when he came into the club at the first, he brought in Arfield, he brought in McGregor, he brought in Katic, he brought in Goldson. So that was through the middle of the team. That was what he wanted to play in. A lot of them ended up playing. And you look at the players that he maybe brought in the season after that, Hollander, Balogun, players that he knew he could rely on to play the way he wanted to play that were solid enough. So
Well,
I think there will be a quite a similarity in terms of that. As you were saying, I hope it's not just English Championship and all that. I think it's maybe just a bit of lazy journalism at the end of the day as well. They're putting two and two together, thinking he's going to go after all these players for his previous teams. I think they'll be looking down there. I think it would be daft if the two of them coming in for
I
Everton weren't
mean,
looking at a market they knew well, but it has to be the right player.
how I mean, as I said, we get Aribo for free, like for Charlton, didn't we, or whatever. So,
Hmm.
so I don't know how that worked out. My only thing, as I say, concern really is just the thought of like Tavernier losing the possession. I mean, how many times did him and Suter and what have you last season just lose the ball and just give up?
Well,
Like,
that's a big call as well. By all reports, it doesn't look like it's going to be a captaincy change under Russell Martin. Obviously, we need to hear actually what that is. It could all just be talking. I think the big thing for me is it's not actually who wears the armband. It's actually like it doesn't really mean that much if you change the armband. And I just think Tavernier needs to be out the team. That's
that's
my
I
opinion
will
on it.
see. That's as I say. That's I think both our criticism here is just the guys know what he used to be. He has to move on. He can't stay here. And it's holding, it feels like it holds the progression of this squad, this team back with him being here. I mean, I know it's like every season we have, and you feel for the guy, you really do. Just the constant abuse, man. Like, do you know what I
It's,
mean?
I mean,
We're not abusing him as a guy or anything like that. We're just saying he's just no good enough to play in this team anymore, and it's time for him and probably for his mental and what have you to move on. I can't imagine do you know what I mean? The daily abuse he gets. I don't think it really if he changes it, or put it on Raskin, all right. But for me personally, I'm selling Raskin. I think Raskin has to go. You heard Patrick Stewart talking about it. There's going to have to be one or two moving out the door for
you think about it
more
at the
money to
moment,
come.
the fee that gets commanded for Raskin, we are in a really good position because
Good
he's got 2
position.
years left in his contract, I think. And he's in the Belgium team. He's performed ever so well for us last season. We're at the point where this is the time to sell. Like, as hard as it might be, and I'm already kind of made up with the fact that Raskin won't be here next season. Just go and get that
But
money in from him that can help us build an actual team.
but we all know that's the kind of club we have to be. Now we can't have a player for as many seasons as your dad and your granddad watched a player, you know what I mean, and they loved him. We can't do that now. We have to be like Ajax and all them. We have to like, move them
Because
on.
Raskin's been here for enough time now. He came in obviously with Michael Beale in January of that year. He then had the rest of that season. He had the full season last year, and then obviously the season has just ended. He's had enough time to develop as a player, and he's hit probably ceiling at Rangers. Well, obviously, if he stays, we've got a fantastic midfielder on our hands. But I just don't want to see us go down the same route that we failed at all those times ago, where we had really good assets in our team, and just because
Never
the
moved them
fans didn't
on.
want them to go, we just didn't sell them. So I think it's going to be a difficult one this season to see players like that go. But the idea and the club need to have the wheels in motion to get the next Raskins in, the next Diomandis to actually go and
Do you
do the
think
same role
it's
for us.
do you think the captain's armband is as important as it was back in the day? I don't think it
That's what
is.
I briefly touched on. I don't think it is. I think you could go and give the armband to anybody really, and the Rangers fans will just then he'll be the guy that gets targeted for it. James Tavernier is the issue in this squad, and he has been for God knows how long now. You take the captain's armband off him, you give it to somebody. I don't think Everton just drastically is all rosy and we're going to just go and win Everton because an armband's on a different guy. James Tavernier is finished at Rangers, and he has been for the last 2 seasons. Nothing against him and his contributions to the club and all of that. It's going to be a debate that goes on forever. But if we want to progress as a club and go into a new era and have this new look squad and stuff, he's just I don't know. He just stinks the place out for me. He shouldn't be the guy that's starting the game. So it's going to be a big decision. I think Russell Martin will like him as a player,
Yeah.
evidently, but I don't think he can be a starter, and I don't think he can be a right back. See if you're having him in to be a centre half, because you think of the way Russell Martin wants to play out for the back. Tavernier is fine with the ball at his feet, and he's
Mm.
been shown to be pretty good at centre half when we've put him there last season. So if he's maybe just like last year his contract, he's just like the guy that's maybe going to be the Balogun of last season, where he's going to play in and out wherever you need him.
There's
He's
no
always reliable. He's always fit.
there's
It's
no
a
chance of that. We both know that. I mean, that's ideally what you'd like to see. Tavernier is starting every game. He's always available. There's no way that he doesn't play in majority of these games. I
mhm.
would prefer that idea as you said there personally. But he's 100% going to be asked to bomb forward. And listen, yeah, again, you never know. You know what I mean? He might turn out and have another one of these brilliant seasons, but it's just to me having him still in the team just represents the old guard and it represents failure for me.
No,
That's
no,
all it
that's.
is.
I think that's a big thing that I'm looking at as well. I think I'm just
You
thinking
want
of
a
all the
new,
right backs that we've missed out on over the years because
uh,
they wouldn't be starting for us and that. So
you want a new fresh face environment. You know what I mean? You don't want to have the same guys there that were. I don't know, man. It's one of them. As I say, Rangers fans are always going to go back and forth on Tavernier. It's one of the figures in it where not everyone's going to agree on him. You know what I mean? People love him. People
oh,
can't
yeah,
stand him.
everybody's going to have different opinions on it.
Opinions
Like
on
people
him.
would want to see him here until the end of time, really. But
Personally,
um,
for me, I'm just sick of talking about the guy. I'm actually sick of talking about him. You know what I mean? It just doesn't do him do any good, and I just feel like he
no,
has to
no.
be moved on. As you
And I
say,
think that is the biggest thing at all. It doesn't feel like we're going to move forward into a new era with the same guy as the captain that's failed under all these other managers to deliver his silverware consistently. That's kind of my view on it. And I know you're obviously similar as well. It's a difficult one to really pinpoint where he's going to end up. If he's going to leave, there was obviously talk of that last season that he might move on, but he was still there. So I guess we'll see when Russell Martin does more interviews with the club and maybe does more interviews with the media if he's asked that question, and we'll see what happens for it.
you can't.
Um,
The thing I would say to Russell Martin is don't stick your neck on the line for him because he's like, as you said, he's like all the other managers down. Don't stick your neck on the line for him.
nah, yeah, I think I definitely. I think it needs to show a bit of balls there. But aye, it's going to be an exciting summer. Just briefly touch on a couple of the rumours before we finish up here. Aye, apparently we've had a bid rejected for Israeli striker Don Turgerman. Maccabi Tel Aviv are obviously in a good position where they don't really need to sell him this summer, but he's got the eyes of Rangers. I think he's a really exciting talent. He scored 20 goals last season, and he's in the ballpark of the players I think we should be looking for. Of course, we were talking about maybe the onus being on English Championship and stuff. I think there'll still be scouts everywhere for us. Hopefully more than usual all over the globe now. Taking a look at talents across the globe. But 4 million rejected. If we go up maybe another couple of million, it becomes a very expensive buy-in. But so does the other one that we're looking at here, Matija Frigan from Croatia. What does that say there? He joined in 2023, €5.5 million. So again, similar in terms of the fee that they paid for him that we would probably be looking to pay, which I don't know if that would be one that we could really get done.
This is
For me anyway, I'm more liking to look at him, but I know you're liking to look at
um,
him.
I think Croatians at Ibrox. It just hits different, doesn't it? So,
I know it always tends to work out. Aye,
I mean, I'm no hang me as I say. I like the Israeli boy as well. I just like to get a new forward in that I can actually rely on to tap the ball in the back of the net and no leave me scratching my head every game.
yeah.
That'd be nice, but I'm more for the Croatian boy. He excites me a lot more.
Yeah, it's a couple of exciting rumours anyway, and it looks like we're
Aye,
definitely
absolutely.
targeting a striker for the get go, which is nice. And then the last one to briefly touch on is Connor Cody, that we were that I think that was Friday afternoon that kind of broke out that we were maybe going to be interested in him. I think for me, this is the kind of when you look at the centre halves that we've got at the club, Suter, who knows what's going to happen with Suter? He's not signed a new contract. He's at the moment a sellable asset because of that. Robin Propper's going to leave. Clinton Enciala will be part of the squad. He might be go out on loan. He'll maybe stay a part of it. Who knows? Leon King will leave the club.
Listen,
It doesn't leave you much, to be honest.
listen. John Suter scored for Scotland, so he's a massive asset for us now.
He's got
You
no.
know,
It's a hard job to score for the
this
Scotland team.
this no, I know this one makes sense to me. As I say, obviously we've lost Balogun. I think he has the kind of same feel is Balogun. Seems like a real leader. If
I
he's
think that
involved, if he's
I
not
think this
involved,
makes sense for everybody.
makes real sense. Obviously he's played at the top level as well, so it just makes sense all round. And be nice to see something like that come in. As I say, I think we miss obviously having that presence at the back. I know it's same with Connor Goldson. You can say what you want about him, what have you, but he was that kind of presence. He was always there. I think, guy. I mean, just for the last name alone, you know what I mean. You can maybe try and use the Cody Rhodes song. No, it's just not.
Aye, aye, Connor Cody getting the wee chant in Ibrox. No, I think looking at the when his contract runs out as well, it's next summer. By all accounts, Leicester being relegated as well won't be wanting to keep a hold of him.
We know linked him before.
We have
Was
been
what
linked to him. I think it was last summer, the summer
January
before
window
that.
or something?
Nah, and I still think he's good enough to come up here and do a job, and especially in that Balogun role where he's a good mentor for the team, but he can also step in when needed. I think he epitomises at the moment the kind of player that we should be targeting for that league. And with him being on big wages at Leicester, you would think in the Premier League they'll want to get rid of him and get a wee bit of a fee in. It could be exactly a straight swap for Robin Proper when you think of the possible wages and fee that we might submit. So, for me, I'm all in that one. And the two boys that have been linked so far, I'm all for, depending on who we go for. But, that's the first podcast done of this season. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of transfer rumours, and we'll be sure to, of
Let's hope
course,
so.
pick up on them as time goes on. But you would like to think if we're doing the podcast next week, there'll be some more clarification on signings and stuff. So we'll wait and see for
Hopefully,
that.
hopefully that's ideal. As I say, it's a new era now. It's a bit of positivity about the place. All you know straight away though. The thing I'll say is if there's not that many links and what have you, and then we go into these Champions League games and we get papped out, you know the place will turn a wee bit again and what have you. I can't see us not being linked with that. As I say, I expect us to be making signings and what have you, and I expect us to be ready for the Champions League games coming up. As I say, you just need to back him. I'm done with all these people now that are like, oh, just back the guy. He's a manager, well, the head coach, whatever you want to say. Um, you just have to back the guy and get fully behind him. And I hopefully we make one or two positive signings. As I say, get the Croatian in and what have you, and we'll be on the roll.
Nah, no, that's it. It's a big point to recruitment now to see what happens, and the fans are eagerly waiting to see what happens. So, start the podcast. Let us know your thoughts on the manager. Let us know your thoughts on potential signings, and if you like the three that have been linked so far. And we'll be back next week again covering those transfer rumours and any other Rangers news that appears up until next Monday. So we'll see you then.